You are what happens to you. That's the title of today's video. What do I mean with that? Well, we'll have to go through a couple of steps, like 5 steps. I've outlined it so it's easier to follow the red line. And the red line, man, it goes like, woo! All over the place. So stick with me here. Stick with me, please. Let me go through what I mean with you are what happens to you. First, let's begin with point 1. How do you define yourself? Where do you look for a definition? Do you look at your name, your body, your hair, your race, are you female or a male? How do you define yourself? So there are different ways, of course, but usually when you ask someone, hey, who are you? Oh boy, we don't know how to answer that. Usually we say, well, I'm Domen. Okay, Domen, now that doesn't work for me. Okay, I'm Domen, I'm a marketer, I'm a businessman, no, I'm a son, no, I'm a daughter, no, still doesn't work. I'm a Christian. No, still doesn't work. Okay, sure. I'm a minimalist. No, doesn't work yet. Still not. I'm a Jew. No, also no. I'm not satisfied. So someone who's scrutinizing you is not going to be satisfied with that. Someone who wants to get to a deeper place is not going to be satisfied with these tags and these definitions. So you go on and you go on. I'm a spiritual person, I'm a material person, and you just can exhaust all your words. You can arrive to I am no one, and still, let's say, a Buddhist will not be satisfied with that answer. You'll still not be satisfied. And then at the end of the day, you arrive at silence. So for the most part, we talk about our little selves, as I usually refer to it, the little self. It's of course not my terminology, but I like to use it. Pure little me, poor little me. The tags, the things they have given us, our parents, the names and the definitions other people around us have given us, and we've started to believe in them, and that's how we became what we are right now, through believing these various definitions and various names and various tags. There is, of course, a grander aspect to all of us, but at the same time we are still this little self. This is our character in this whole game. It's the story, the player in the story. The player in a video game, that's you, but there is a bigger self behind the whole scenery, which religious people, religions and spirituality has been pointing to for as long as we can remember. But now if we move on to point number 2, from the definition of who you are to we'll go to the consciousness and the subconsciousness and the unconscious. We'll go in this direction right now, so that we come to point number 2 in this discourse of you are what happens to you. So, point number 2. If you observe your life like really keenly, you may notice that things that happen to you are actually things that you in a way want to happen to you, even if they are not good in your definition. There is a connection between the unconscious, your subconsciousness, the whole unconscious, and of course your conscious level and the manifestation. So here, the physical level. So what happens here, as Jung would say, is, and I'm paraphrasing, is mostly what happens. Your subconscious beliefs will manifest themselves whether or not you like them or not. They will manifest themselves in the outer reality so that you can experience it. I may have added a couple of points here. I don't think he said exactly that, but I don't care. I said that. So what you hold within yourself, within your subconscious depths, which is much more powerful than our conscious level, that those things manifest. Can be from illnesses to accidents to, of course, also outright positive things, what we call positive things. And there is a strong correlation. And when you see this, when you start to notice this, then you will slowly get into seeing that the outer reality, as we call it, the external reality versus the internal reality is becoming more and more one, like I discussed in the previous video. So, which is point 3. we in a way then can notice that the outside and the inside are melting together, and in a way this creates a cycle. How does it create a cycle? That's our question right now. Well, the outer reinforces the inner, or weakens it. It depends. So for one, it can affirm our beliefs. Of course, if our beliefs are subconscious and we have not we don't really know we have them, then we may not know that this reinforcement is happening, but it is happening on a subconscious level. It's still happening. And then we are in a cycle where what happens to us is forming us. So we're getting closer to this now. You are what happens to you. So here we get to point number 4. Point number 4 in this discourse is redefining ourselves as not the inner nor the outer, not the white nor the black, but seeing expansion. This is an expansive feeling when you can expand to feel like the entire world, the entire galaxy, the entire universe, the entirety, all of it. Seeing that what you do to yourself. What happens to you, you do it ahead of time, before. You do it with your feelings and your thoughts, your subconscious thoughts, your subconscious beliefs. You map out the future. And of course, realize that these subconscious beliefs, they're not just from this one life. They're also from your parents, from your grandparents, from your grandparents, from people around you. There's a whole combination of influences within you that you don't realize is there. And through life, what has happened is, to all of us, we have formed sub-personalities. We have began playing different roles because we're led to believe that we are not enough. This personality I'm right now is not enough, so let's add something, like upgrading a character in a video game. Let's add something. And then we believe we're better, but we're removing ourselves from our core. We are going further and further away from what we were when we were born. The tabula rasa, the tablet wasn't written on yet, so the unwritten tablet. Here you were, clean. And then we started adding tons of shit on all of this. And then this process, we fell from, as Christians would say, we fell from grace, or we were banished from the paradise. So Adam and Eve, they ate the apple of knowledge, and thus they were removed from heaven, in a way. They fell down to hell or to earth, and because they attained knowledge, as we discussed last week. This is a flower, this is me, that's my mother. Separation began, redefinition of what we are. And 5, to go into a conclusion about this, why this is important, why I think I have to share this, is simple and not simple at the same time. It is a feature of transcending our personality, is that we come to a point where we feel this connection between the outer and the inner, as if there is no difference. Because on a physical, on a level of fact, there is no difference. This isn't dogma, this isn't a belief, this is fact. Quantum physics has proven this already. But for thousands of years, spiritual people, spiritual leaders, so on, have been pointing this out. Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, whoever. They've been pointing this out. But now, modern science, quantum physics has proven this. You can do your own research here. I don't care if you believe me or not. We are not separate from anything. And of course, this also means we're not separate from what happens to us. And this also means we no longer have the right or the privilege or the possibility to blame him, her, or anyone else. Oh yeah, well, God, he threw a comet down to Earth. No, fuck it. There's no more space for blame. No more. Zzz. No blaming. It's his fault, her fault, my fault. There's no blame. You were born here. You were programmed. Now, your job is to deprogram, declutter yourself. That's what the Buddhists say before you bring in new books or new clothes. First, empty out those clothes. Your head is full of it. Your glass is brimming with, it's overflowing with water that contains virus. It's overflowing. We need to empty it. We need to start dissecting, applying doubt to ourselves. We have a very, very clever liar in here. Very clever. The traditions from North America, or from the Americas, the Naguals, they call this the parasite, with a capital P, the parasite, the liar. And it's going to try to turn you against the solution. So here's the solution. The parasite says, there it is. It's doing this to all of us all the time. It does not want to be found. Of course, it's a parasite. It lives off our negative energy, off our emotions. It feeds off of it. So what happens to you is just a segue to the real topic. Every topic I speak of one thing only in reality. But there are, of course, various ways to get at it. And of course, all topics are for me. Don't you forget that, friend. I'm your friend here. I'm not some guy trying to convince you to something. I'm just talking with myself. You happen to be watching. Thank you, because there is a force that has led you to here. So thank you. Thank him, her. So to bring this in, the main point here is that we realize that we do have the power to change things. We do not need ever to be satisfied not satisfied, to be content with a situation we are really not content with. There is no need to say, yeah, it is what it is. No, it never is what it is. We do certain things a certain way. We sit this way. We have a chair that's like this way. We have Sunday dinners. Some people go to church, but that's all our invention. It's our story. Now you are waking up. You can create a new story. Why do I know you're waking up? You're watching this. That's why you're waking up. You can create your new story. And then you'll have your own family, and your own family can start to live this new story. It's still a story. Everything is a story. We create stories, but we can create a much more beautiful story, a brilliant story, a story without shit, a beautiful story. And that is your task. That is all of us task. Together we create a new story, a new dream, and rid ourselves of the parasite. There's a beautiful book on this. Don Miguel Ruiz. The book is, he has several books. So I suggest 3 books. One is, I've got it there. The Mastery of Love, The 4 Agreements, and there's another, and The Voice of Knowledge. The Voice of Knowledge is the one that includes the parasite and the story of the parasite. So The Voice of Knowledge, The Mastery of Love, and The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Beautiful books. Alright, this is it for today. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for having the patience to come this far. You are a gem to have this much attention, especially in today's world. Thank you. Namaste.